I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome. We're glad you're here. And we have not a long agenda tonight, and I don't think anything too complicated. So I think we'll go ahead and get started with the approval of the agenda. Do you have any?
I do have
additions?
one addition. Mr. Adams was able to fill one of our instructional aid positions. That'll be 6.3.1.2.4, and that's Natasha Davinsky as a senior high instructional aid. So that is an addition since Tuesday.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve as amended.
A motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Has been approved. Patron comments.
Y'all are looking good.
We like those comments. All right, moving on then. Board minutes. Approval of board minutes. We've all had
Motion
it.
to approve the July 18th board minutes.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of collective bargaining meeting minutes.
I move that we accept the collective bargaining meeting minutes from July 18th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Special presentations.
Good deal. We've got Derek Williams and Mr. Smith here. Derek's going to explain to you kind of some of the exciting news that happened for him and our FFA chapter this summer. So I invited them along to kind of explain to us what all this means, Derek. So if you would, kind of take the floor, as I know you can.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
really
prepare
shy.
anything beforehand.
I'm sure you didn't need
So
to.
I'll just kind of go with it, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, as Mr. Black kind of said, there's this really exciting new opportunity that has been offered to me. And I'll kind of explain it because it takes a little bit of an explanation. So I have the honor as being the Indiana FFA District 9 President for this year, which covers about 7 counties. It's Randolph, Wayne, Rush, all in the surrounding area. So I get to do some really cool Indiana FFA stuff, and a part of that is being a member of the Indiana FFA Executive Committee, which is where we do all the business, hold responsibility over the 12,000 Indiana FFA members that we have. So the way that this amazing opportunity got to me was through the Indiana FFA Executive Committee. And I was approached by our Indiana FFA Director, Mr. Rob Hayes, with this really, really cool email that he got from this lady named Emily with the National Farmers Union. And I can't really remember exactly, but the email kind of went somehow as follows. Hey, Mr. Hayes, we would love to work with you with the Indiana FFA to get some Indiana FFA kids up to Minnesota. And in Minnesota, we have this National Farmers Union camp that we put on. It's an amazing experience, and we want 2 of your people to go up. So then he kind of shared that with us, the executive committee, and of course, me, I was like, oh, definitely, yeah, sign me up, let me apply, whatever cool stuff I can do with that. So, sent an application, did all that kind of stuff, and I ended up being selected to go. So over the summer, it was like the last weekend in July, I went up to Minnesota and just spent an entire week up there, and the other Indiana FFA guy wasn't able to make it. Some prior arrangement, something like that came up. So I was the only Indiana person among all this Minnesotans, as their accent kind of goes. And it was quite the experience. It was amazing. Got to make a lot of new connections. And really got to figure out what the National Farmers Union represents and is doing in the country. And so that was kind of where it ended there for the time. But then, maybe a week and a half afterwards, they got back with me again and said, hey, we really like the kind of impression that you gave to us in Minnesota. We would love for you to take part in this other opportunity that we have. And it turns out the National Farmers Union, from like September 8th to the 11th, puts on a fly-in program where they bring people into Washington, D.C. during their big congressional meetings for the year. And so they actually offered that to me and along with Mr. Smith to fly us down, all expenses paid, to spend 3 to 4 days in Washington, D.C., meet with congressmen, work with National Farmers Union, and just do all that really amazing stuff. And kind of like with the Minnesota thing, I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. And that is kind of this opportunity that is before me with the National Farmers Union reps that I've been working with. And another really cool development that we kind of got actually just over the last couple days was that they actually want to bring us down even earlier, so Sunday morning instead of like Sunday afternoon. And they want me to come and speak in front of the board of the National Farmers Union concerning the trip that I took to Minnesota and all the amazing experiences that I took back from that. So come Sunday morning in September, I'm going to be able to fly down to Washington, D.C., talk in front of the board of the National Farmers Union and tell them all about that amazing trip that I had and why it was such a great thing. So Mr. Smith and I, to say the least, are super excited about this whole new relationship between the Indiana FFA and the National Farmers Union. So it'll be really interesting to see where this goes moving forward. I know one of the big things that the National Farmers Union people are going to have me do is work with the Indiana Farmers Union, directly with the president, and getting kind of like a similar camp to what they have in Minnesota here in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
So not only do I get to do all the speaking stuff, meet with the congressmen, but then I also get to work with the people in the great state of Indiana to get something like that started here within our state. So that's kind of...
They found the right kid.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. So that's kind of the story of how we got there, what we're going to be doing with it, and where it's probably going to be moving forward. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to go down to Washington, D.C., shake hands with the big wigs, all that good stuff, get them show them how we do it in Indiana. All that good stuff. So
Congratulations.
yes, that's my spiel. That's what I got.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Not you.
yeah. We can't be a state officer until after we graduate.
Oh,
So
a national officer, though.
yeah, until after you graduate. Yeah.
You're going to keep Mr. Smith very busy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're really excited. I mean, it just came about. The National Farmers Union is a big sponsor, just became a big sponsor of the FFA within the last year, so that's why this is all coming about.
That's great.
They're nationally, they're doing a lot of nice things, and so this kind of came out, and they're actually flying FFA people from all over the country out there for the Sunday night part of it, and that's going to be really neat. There'll be a lot of FFA people and advisors there for that, and then they want us to go around and talk to congressmen, and they said, the farmers talk to them and they like that, but it's really neat to see, students and ag teachers and people in the community talk also. So we're going to have a chance to talk to all the Indiana congressmen, and along with a few National Farmers Union members from Indiana. So
Definitely.
we're pretty excited.
Derek, my only advice is don't intimidate the politicians when you're speaking.
I'll try not to.
He'll be outshining them.
Because you'll hold your own. I have no
Yes, he
doubt.
will.
You need to take,
Yeah, I told him I'll follow him on Twitter now, the National Farmers Union, and their president is, he was actually on CNN for like 5 minutes yesterday, because obviously there's a lot of issues right now with legislation and farming and
Yeah.
tariffs and
No.
some of those things going on, so it's gonna be kind of interesting, it's gonna be fun.
Derek, you need to take Mrs. Chase with you so she can play an introduction.
Oh yeah, as I come
Before you
walking in,
speak.
yeah, something like that. I can only imagine.
Well, thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Smith. Derek, congratulations.
Thank you.
You both are welcome to stay, or you're welcome to go. You're not going to hurt our feelings. So That,
He's
that,
got
that,
Yeah, we
a
have
meeting at 6, he's gotta be out.
Of
an
course.
AED donation. Yeah,
DJ, you had to squeeze us in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fit it in my busy schedule.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming
Thank you,
in.
guys.
Thanks for making us
Thank you
proud.
very much.
I hope you guys pass it, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go. See you guys.
Bye.
See ya. Bye, Derek.
Yep, see ya.
That's amazing.
He is amazing.
That is. Those two organizations, that pairing seems like a natural. That's,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. All right, we are down to the action items. Claims approval.
I'd love to. I got choked up, Bev. I don't know what happened there. Motion to approve claims 5411 through 5503 and payroll 14 and 15.
For those viewing at home, this is not an emotional event.
It's not coming out of her pocket. I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Everybody gets paid. Field trips.
Have 4 field trips there for you to approve. A couple of that are in-state overnight. And then we have out-of-state trip from Cindy Nunez with the FFA students as well. And then Sean Byram, Sarah Black recommending their trip to Washington, D.C. in 2021. But they start the fundraising early, which is why they asked for early approval. And then, of course, Mr. Smith flying out to Washington, D.C. in September. So a lot of exciting field trips on the agenda.
Yes.
I'll
I
move-
make a mo-
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the field trips that are coming up.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it passes. Let's go on to personnel consent agenda.
Yep, just ask that you take all the personnel items there listed. I think you can approve them all together, except the new employees and the resignations all together if you'd like.
Okay. I move that we approve the employment of the non-certified personnel along with the resignations.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Unfinished business.
Just an update on where we're at with summer projects and an update on the chiller issue at the high school as well. The big items, the Northside gym, the girls' locker room, the press box, and the lighting projects, they're kind of at the 90% spot. We just got to push past the last 10% here. When school starts back up, it's harder for our team to focus directly on those because they're getting called away to clean up messes or chase down kindergartners or whatever comes across the radio. So, but they are coming together well. I'd encourage everybody to check out the press box, the locker room, the gym looks amazing. The padding should go up sometime next week. So we're on the home stretch of those summer projects, and they just take a while to complete. So, but they look really good. Next item I have there is just a follow-up to the conversation we had in June. If you remember, we had Baker Tilly do a presentation to us about a bond issuance in 2021. This would be a project that we would do next summer, and then we'd start paying for it in 2021. Looking right now at a $1.1 million bond issuance that would go towards replacing the chiller that has went out, and I'll touch on that a little bit more. Finishing the 200 wing update at the high school, and then if the funds are available, working on the roof above the high school gym and the band room as well as the boys varsity locker room. So that's the punch list for the projects. And I think for me, first time going through a bond issuance, I'm going to learn that $1.1 million don't go as far as I think it should. So we got to keep that in mind. With the chiller at the high school, it was planned for when MCOR did their study or recommended that we look at replacing it next summer. It had different things in mind. It decided to quit one fall too early. So what we are doing now is we're collecting bids to get that fixed. And I'm going to ask for permission to pay for that out of rainy day funds. But what I've found out is we can go ahead and do that. And in September, we'll do a resolution to reimburse the rainy day funds from the bond issuance because it's going to be within 365 days of us doing the bond work. So we'll be able to recoup that money back into our rainy day funds if we choose to. We may look at the project and try to do some other things to get it into the project, and we may recoup half of that money in the rainy day. But it's good for me, a peace of mind, knowing that we're not just out that money in our rainy day because we're planning on doing it in the summer project anyway. So we'll be able to reimburse our rainy day fund if necessary.
Are we fixing or replacing?
We're going to replace.
Okay, you said fix, that's
Oh,
why.
sorry,
No, it's
yeah.
okay, I just want to make sure.
It's going to be a replacement.
Okay,
They were like I said, they were recommending a replacement in 20.
yeah.
It didn't get us there. We can get a Band-Aid for it potentially, but by the time we get there,
Yeah.
this warm season's going to be over. We're going to have the heater on. I would just suggest we get it done and be ready for next March.
Yeah.
Because this is the second year in a row it's done that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to replace it.
Yeah.
So these Band-Aids are getting very expensive.
Yeah.
That's all I have for just unfinished business.
Okay, let's go on to new business then.
Enrollment summary there. This is as of last week. This is last Friday because I ran a comparison from the Friday in 2018. We're at 879 students, K through 12. Compared to where we were last year, we're up 19 students. We were at 860 last year. And then compared to the end of this past school year, we're at 854. Today, we're at 881. We picked up a couple more students this week. That's very encouraging. That's really good news, but we got to be cautiously optimistic because our students are so transient at times. They come and go a lot, and with there being 2 counts again in September and then a follow-up count in February, that could change pretty dramatically. The good news is we get to that September count, our funding will increase to that 879 kid amount. The bad news is if it drops in February, they'll cut our funding back to make adjustments to get us there. So, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic because we've picked up some different students here, not just students that I would say are going to be real transient. I think we picked up some very nice families to complement our school. So it's a good thing. And our kindergarten group is pretty large.
Good.
They're at 76 right now. So they're a trying group, but they're much little 5-year-olds that are getting used to structure. But our enrollment numbers right now are very good. Our classroom sizes are very good. So sitting where we are today, I'm pretty optimistic. So
Okay.
the next item, we'll need a vote. Does anybody have any questions on the enrollment summary before or any comments?
No?
No? Okay.
Yeah, looks good.
The next item is the MOU with the City of Union City in reference to our school resource officer. This is the exact same MOU we had last year. For the new board members, basically, we get half of this fund from school safety grant. So we pay a quarter, the city pays a quarter, and the grant pays for half of our SRO to be housed in the building. So it works out very well for us. And what the MOU states is we turn those funds over to the city so they can pay out the officer. We'll get a response on the school safety grant. Andy told me by the end of August. And there's money in the account from last year to carry our SRO through October. So we're in pretty good shape there. But I do need the board to approve that MOU.
I motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the police department for SRO.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Question, does all the safety grant money have to go to his salary, or can you use it for other entities in the building?
It can be used. We asked for more school safety money. Last year, they just asked for the minimum to cover his salary. We asked for $50,000 this year that we'll match. So there'll basically be $25,000 that we can match to do safety. the one thing we want to do is all the school locks, exterior locks,
Right.
get rid of keys and start key fobing into the building, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's a good question.
Further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item here, we'll need a vote too, but we're in the budget workshop season. In September, we will have our public hearing where the board, or the patrons will have the opportunity to come and speak to us about the school's budget. Tonight, I just need the approval from the board to permission to publish notice to the public, which we'll do here in the next couple of weeks. We'll put it out in the newspaper. And that's just publishing the hearing happening in September and inviting the public to come and make comment. It's just a kind of a box that we got to check along the way. I did provide you all copies with the debt service budget for next school year. You'll see it's changed very little because we're not picking up any new debt. It should be in your board packet and that
Yeah.
is staple for you. You also have a copy of the CPF, the capital project list, which we talked about in July,
Right.
and the bus replacement list. I just want to make sure that you have those because those are what we have to advertise when we put out the public notice. We have to advertise those items because those are all tax-based budgets. So those will be going out, and we'll get the budget process really rolling pretty strongly and have to have it closed out by the October board meeting. So I'll be looking for information from me concerning our budget locally. I will tell you that we did get our assessed value for our school corporation. It's went down right about $3 million for the corporation, but I will tell you that, and Jeff Stevens gave me great direction on this, I built our 20 budget for our operations fund at 85% of last year's AV. So that gave us plenty of buffer in case our AV dropped dramatically.
Good.
It's not a 15% drop, so we're good, but that's a good practice that I learned to, build your budget at 85% according to last year's AV, and that'll give you a pretty good balloon. So when you get that operations budget, I guess the reason I'm telling you, don't think that the money's not going to be there because we budgeted way under the amount that we figured we were going to get. So.
Okay, so we need a motion to
Publish the notice.
publish
Right.
the notice to taxpayers, right?
Yeah.
A motion?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, next item is permission from the board to use rainy day funds to replace the chiller. That's just permission to do so. We will have to get 3 bids on this and go through that process because it's going to be well over $50,000. But anytime we use rainy day funds, the board has to, and that's a good resolution to have in place, but the board has to give their blessing to do so.
Okay.
I move that we give you permission to pull from the rainy day fund.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next item on here, and if you have questions or want some explanation, I'm happy to give it to you, is permission to use rainy day funds in the event that we're able to upgrade our accounting software before 2021. The accounting software upgrade to move to a web-based, a cloud-based product, they're actually 2 years out to get this done. So I'm anticipating doing that in 2021, and I will build our budget in order to pay for it in 2021. In case they have a school fall off in 2020 that was supposed to be in line, they've asked if we'd be willing to be a school that they call and say, are you willing to? We can say no, but it won't be in our 20 budget, so I'd have to pay for it out of rainy day funds with the intention of putting it back in 2021. But I would need your permission to do that.
Okay.
A a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Review of reports.
Any questions on any of the reports? Obviously, athletics and cafeteria is very quiet in July, so there's not a whole lot there. Our budget target looks good, and it's going to look even better after the August because we'll have July's payroll on. So our budget targets are solid. We're hitting our marks pretty well, but are there any questions? No?
Okay.
No action needed.
Corporation department comments. Corporation staff comments.
Anybody? There's 4 of you. 5 of you. No?
All right. Superintendent comments.
Couple things. First of all, I just want to let you all know that we did get initial iLearn results today about 2 o'clock. I haven't even had a chance to really jump into them. So once we get into that and really can disaggregate some data, I will make sure that that's communicated to you all when it's sent to the teachers. So just know that that's going to be coming, and that's going to be how we set our corporation goals. And we'll actually have some good numbers to say here's the percentage of students we want to pass in our corporation iLearn for next year. So we'll have good goals to set. So that information is coming out. And from my perspective, I just want to let you all know that in the next 2 months, we will be writing, by August 30th, we have to submit 4 federal grants. We've got the school budget that's got to be done by the middle of October. And we plan to do our collective bargaining pretty quickly in September. It's not going to work timing-wise to do our public meeting at the September board meeting, so we will probably schedule a special meeting once we know that timeline a little bit better, because you have to have 72 hours after an agreement's made to give the public a chance to, before you can ratify. So
It's not something we can set ahead of time.
no.
No.
So once we get through that process, we'll be communicating that. But the next 3 months, going to be pretty busy. I'm going to be filling up your emails. So if you have questions, ask away. But we're going to be moving along pretty quickly.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say is school's off to a great start. I know we joke about our kindergartner kids, but in my opinion, they're acting just how they're supposed to. They're 5 years old. They're learning their way. And to the junior, senior high staff, getting it out there for 3 days and working with us there and being very patient and not griping to me, at least.
We called it the Becky Keel weight loss program.
Was greatly appreciated.
Sweat it out.
It wasn't horrible. We made it.
So thank you.
No
I think
one died.
in all seriousness, it's been a very good start. So
We have an awesome staff.
We do.
really
Yeah.
do. They handled it like champs. All right, board comments. Any? All right, since there are
Tim, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sure.
Squared away.
no board comments, well, in that case, this meeting is adjourned.